Welcome to the Programming Electronics Academy podcast. Join us every other week as we explore how everyday people are creating extraordinary things in the world. Find us online at programmingelectronics.com.
Hello, this is Michael with Programming Electronics Academy. I hope you're doing fantastic. Thanks so much for joining me this week. So today's guest is pretty sweet. His name is Nikodem Bartnik. He's from Poland, and he's going to talk about a quadcopter that he worked on. He built this thing from scratch, not just the hardware, but also the firmware, all the code that's running on this thing, the flight controller, all that stuff. It blows my mind. And here's the thing. He's a young guy. He's actually still finishing up high school. So this is a really neat story. I think you're going to enjoy it. And he's got a great thing to say, I think, at the end to kind of just inspire people to build. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this week's show, and I'll see you on the other side. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I've got a really interesting guest. His name is Nikodem Bartnik. Nikodem, welcome.
Hi, Michael.
Thanks for taking the time to be on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm very happy to be with you.
So the reason we reached out is because we saw your project on Instructables. It's a really cool drone, like a quadcopter, I suppose. And we're just really impressed by it. And I'm sure the viewers will be impressed to learn about it and hear some more about it. But before we talk about the drone, I'm a little curious about your background and maybe how you got into electronics and stuff like that.
Currently, I'm in high school. I'm studying mechatronics. I like electronics since I remember. I think I started with my dad when I was 10 years old or something like that. And with Arduino, with that kind of project that I made right now, I started about 3 or 4 years ago. And this is pretty funny because I found Arduino just by accident in an advertisement on YouTube, I think. And I just thought that's very expensive, the electronics, this kind of stuff. And I checked out the price. It was actually cheap. So I asked my parents if they could buy this for me for Easter. They bought it. And I get into it really much right now. It's been 4 years and I all the time making something with Arduino and electronics. I'm also really into programming, not only microcontrollers, but also Android applications and computer programs.
Wow, that is so cool. So you've really been working at this for 3 to 4 years. That's a lot of time. That's pretty awesome. And that is really, isn't it weird sometimes how you just, I feel like my experience with Arduino was much the same. I really wasn't out looking for something like that. I just happened onto it because I was kind of interested in, tech type stuff. And I thought, wow, this is cool. That's pretty neat. So this drone that you've worked on, what was your inspiration for the project? Why did you decide to build a drone?
Mainly it was because I made a lot of projects before, like FollowBot. It was the robot that follows the red objects like a ball. It uses Android application that recognize the ball and follow it. It was actually pretty sophisticated. And I was trying to find something which will be the challenge for me, something harder that I cannot do to learn some new things. And I thought that drone could be a good thing because it's quite complicated. And I think maybe is there somebody that made a drone on the internet based on Arduino, but there is no really good explanation about it. So I thought, why not to make this?
That's cool. I think that is such a good reason to build a project for the intent of learning. I feel like a project can really help.
I think that's the best way to learn new things.
So you set out to build this drone. What were some of the challenges you ran into while you were doing it?
Well, basically there was a lot of challenges. Mainly, I'm into 3D printing because my drone was also 3D printed partly. Cool. And it was a challenge for me to design the frame for it, I failed with it at the end because the frame wasn't strong enough, and I broke the frame 7 times during the test flights. It was pretty annoying because every time I go and test my drone, it falls from about, I don't know, 10 to meters or something like that, and I just, oh no, I have to print again new parts, and it was annoying. But the challenges were everywhere. I mean, for example, even in programming, I'm pretty good at programming. I'm doing it for about, I don't know, 6 years right now. And it was even the challenge of programming to make the controllers, the PID algorithms, and everything to make it stable in the air. And also safe because, that's the drone.
Wow. So did you write the code for the controller yourself, or did you because I'm not too familiar with drones. I'm curious, are there existing libraries that you can use to do some of that? What is it, telemetry or control?
Yes, there are. Multivi, I think it's the name of it. It's the wool code for Arduino. It's compatible with a lot of sensors, a lot of different things. A lot of people used it. For example, they built the flight controller board, like the PCB, and upload the multi-with firmware. But my firmware is completely mine. I just used a library for MPU 6050. That's the name of the gyroscope and accelerometer module. And I write everything from scratch.
Wow. So you're really learning a lot then. Holy moly, that's cool.
Thanks.
That must have been so difficult. I'm envious of what you must have learned. That's cool. Now, if I understand correctly, did you also make the PCB for this drone?
Yes, for the drone and for the controller, because also the RC controllers, like this remote. I also made it myself to save some money and to learn also how to make it.
Wow. And did you have those manufactured, or did you have it etched?
No, I made it at home using the thermotransfer method.
Okay, cool. That must have been, had you done that before? Or?
Yes, a lot of times.
Okay.
I think that about 8, maybe 10.
That's
I was
cool.
thinking about ordering from manufacturer this PCB, but it is quite expensive, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there are some services that will do smaller boards or stuff. I know I've heard of Osh Park will. They'll do one-off PCBs. I think the cost is relatively reasonable, but again, maybe not as cheap as just doing it in your house, especially if you already have the stuff to do it.
Yes, but the biggest problem for me is that I live in Poland, and the shipping always costs more than the manufacturing. So
right, yeah, I could imagine, absolutely. So this is crazy. So you built the drone, and you built the quadcopter and the controller. Which part was harder? Was it harder to build the drone or the controller?
I think the drone itself, because controller is just the PCB, just the program. You control it. There is no drone is in the air. There are wind. There is a lot of stuff that you cannot you didn't know about it, and just happens. It can fall. Something can happen that you didn't know about, and you can broke everything. With controller, it's just simpler.
Gotcha. Wow. And how many? So it is a quadcopter. Is that correct?
Yes, it's quadcopter.
And is servo motors on it that control what type of motors are on it that probably not servos?
There are brushless motors.
Oh, okay.
Four of them with LiPo battery. That's 3S, so 11.1 volts. It's 3,300 milliamperes. And I control the brushless motor with ESC's controllers.
Okay.
The motors is up to, I think, 30 amps or something like that.
Oh, wow. And how long can it fly?
On this battery, because you can install a smaller or bigger one. But on that one that I have, it's about 50 to 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty long time.
Yeah, but you need to be careful because during the build I destroyed about, I think, yes, 2 batteries, because you have to connect the battery monitor. It's just the little device that monitors the cells voltage, because on the LiPo batteries it's easy to damage them. I forget to connect this battery monitor and I destroy 2 batteries during the build.
Oh man. Did you work on the project yourself, or did you have any co-creators that you were working on?
No, I just worked myself. To be honest, I have some friends at my school that, we are studying mechatronics, so there are some people that also make some kind of projects. But maybe 2 of them from my class, so I didn't know a lot of people right there who is making that kind of projects.
Okay. And are you learning a lot of your programming at school? Is that where you got your introduction, or was it at home?
Everything I learned about programming, about Arduino, I learned at home, mostly on the internet, maybe something from the books, also from YouTube. YouTube is a great resource for that. But at school, more about just electronics, like transistors, logics, and so on.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And are you are you introducing Arduino to your friends at school then? Are they familiar with it now through your kind of exploration?
Yes, I introduced to my friends. I even teach them something about Arduino, and currently one of my friends get into it really much. He built a CNC plotter or something like this. This is just a plotter based on Arduino that can draw whatever you want to. It's kind of a nice project.
Okay, now I understand that your quadcopter won an award. Is it like a tech award? Is that correct?
Actually, it won 5 awards. Like, I took part in 5 contests, and every contest that I took part in, my drone takes some place.
Nice.
Thanks.
Which was I know when I was reading the Instructable, you referred to one of them. You had some pictures from one. I think it was like you won a freestyle award.
Yes, it was a freestyle award in Poland, in Rybnik. There was a robotic contest. Robotic. I have a prize on my desk. It was a robotic contest, robotic tournament. Exactly, it was the name of it. And there was a freestyle, just freestyle robots. And judges decide that my drone is the best, and I have first place right there.
That's so cool. That's fun.
Thanks.
To be able to kind of like get some of those, and it makes you happy to have people appreciate it. So when you're flying your drone outside, are people like, what? Are they like, do you get a bunch of questions and stuff when you fly it?
Yes, once I get outside of my flat, some kids, they were like 12 years old, I think, just came and starting to ask, what is it? Did I build it or no? How I build it? How is it possible? And just that kind of questions. A lot of them also wanted to fly with it, but it's too dangerous.
Like, get away. There ain't no way you're touching my baby.
No, never.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, as much work as you put into it, that's neat. So you really spent a lot of time working on this project. Are you still working on it? Is it really done, or what? Like, do you have plans for the future for it?
It's almost perfectly done, but there's still something to done. I mean, the pit calibration, it's not perfect, and to make it perfect, I have to have a laptop, but I haven't a laptop, and I live in a flat on the 6th floor, so it's pretty hard to get my PC down and reprogram my drone every time I want to change the pit settings. But except that, everything is ready. Flight controller is great. Remote is great. Eventually, I maybe in the future want to make a second version of the PCB, because right now I'm using Atmega 328 with deep, so it's mounted through holes. And in the future, I want to change it to the SMD version of Atmega to make it lighter and smaller. And there is also a lot of people that made my project already. They write to me on my Facebook or on my mail that they want help, or hey, I made your project, look at these photos or video, and that's very funny. Some of them even send me eagle files of board that they changed a little bit my board to their suits, and they sent it to me. That's very funny.
Wow, that is so cool. And I mean, I feel like part of that is because you documented it really well on the Instructable, I thought. So, I mean, that's so cool. I mean, how neat to have people rebuilding what you've made. That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So, that's pretty neat. So, do you have another project you're getting ready to work on, or another project you're currently working on?
Yes, currently I'm working on even some projects because uh, like the most sophisticated right now, it's a dotter. I named it like that. It's just a small printer. Okay, it's not so small. It uses the very cheap motors. You can buy it on eBay for $1 or something like that. And I want to make it to just like let's say create a dots on the paper, and then from these dots there will be an image of something you can choose. You can create on computer. Uh, and I want to make it work with paper from IKEA. There are rolls of paper in IKEA. It's 60 centimeters wide and 30 meters long. And I want to make this printer print on that long paper.
So, okay, so it will be like a dot printer.
Yes, something like that.
Okay. And so it'll just make the image. It'll create the image by creating like small dots connect.
Yes,
the
yes,
dot. Okay,
exactly,
gotcha.
exactly.
But it's going to work on like giant rolls of paper.
Yes, I hope so.
Oh, wow. That'll be cool. So like making some huge banner or something like that.
Yeah, for example, just for fun or
Okay, right. Oh, that'll be neat. That sounds fun. That sounds like a challenge too.
Yes.
Okay. So we got a lot of people listening to the show right now who are, interested in Arduino, interested in electronics, coding, that type of thing. And maybe they've jumped in, maybe they haven't. Any recommendations for somebody who's just getting started, and maybe the whole electronics and coding thing is intimidating, or maybe it's been a long time since they've messed with it. Any thoughts kind of motivate or inspire somebody who's thinking about getting into it?
I think that the most important thing is never give up. Always, if you want to do something, just do this. Don't mind whatever people are saying. Or if you think that you cannot do something, just keep trying, and one day you will achieve this. Like with my drone, I have a lot of problems. Once I even wanted to just give up on it because absolutely nothing was working with this project. But I decided that I cannot give up. If I tried, I bought all of these things that I need to build a drone. So I will build this drone, and I achieved this. And also try to be creative. Don't copy projects from the internet. I mean, you can inspire by them or use some parts of them, but don't copy all projects. Try to do something yourself, to be creative, to create new projects and share it with people. That's also the big motivation if you are sharing all of these things you create on the internet, and people that watching it, it's very inspired.
Absolutely, yeah, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, when when somebody's getting into it and they're trying things out, the internet is such a huge resource. But it wouldn't be if people like you weren't sharing what they've created and making that stuff available. It's like how many times I run into an issue, I haven't tackled it before, and I do some searches, and finally I come across somebody who's written about an experience they've had or something, and it's like just and then it's the smallest, weirdest thing they mention that happens to be the solution that you're looking for, might get you on the right track. And so it's so nice when people spend the time to kind of write about that stuff and their experiences. It's really helpful for all of us, I think.
Yes, there's always somebody that faced the same problem that you on the internet, and that's great. The community of Arduino is one of the best, I think.
Yes, I would agree completely. Well, Nikodem, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We really appreciate it, and we'll make sure to link to the Instructable And maybe, do you have a YouTube channel, Nikodem?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a YouTube channel and Facebook fan page, of course.
Okay, so we'll make sure to link to those things in the show notes. And again, thank you so much for your time, for sharing this really cool project. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Oh, thanks. And thanks for inviting me.
Well, I don't know about you, but I thought that was really cool. Man, I wish I was this smart when I was younger. Actually, I wish I was just that smart, period. Nikodem really impresses me. I just love it. I love seeing people do this amazing things when they're young. It's so cool. Anyhow, okay, so we'll make sure to link to all the stuff in the show notes that we talked about. He's got a really cool video of the drone flying and some pictures of the PCB he talked about, and he's also got the code on his Instructable. So definitely, if you're interested in this type of thing, check it out and see how he documented it. And, even if you're just interested in getting into Arduino code, go check out the code. Just peruse it. Maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't, but just to kind of get an idea of what it looks like for a project like this. All right, well, hey, I hope you have a fantastic week. If you haven't and you're interested, you can subscribe to our show in iTunes. And you can rate and review it 5 stars, 100 stars, a star, whatever. Maybe some honest feedback would be much appreciated. All right, well, have a good one, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.
This show is produced by Programming Electronics Academy, an online technology education company. We exist to help you create the technology you want in your life. If you are interested in learning more about Arduino, we welcome you to sign up for our free Arduino Crash Course, a 12-part video series with accompanying written lessons designed to teach the basics of programming Arduino. To register for the course, simply text your email address to 440-701-5311, or you can visit programmingelectronics.com and sign up there.